remastered. Now it should be working just fine. Let's see. It's working fine. I always forget to do something when it comes to preparing for this stuff. At any rate, good evening, afternoon, or whatever time of the day it is in your part of the world, and tonight we're going back to Shadowrun Hong Kong. Specifically, it's... what was it? It's custom campaign, Caldecott Caper. Now give me a second so that we can actually set it up properly. Funny story, looks like I was a little bit behind on Kix's announcement. No doubt he'll make fun of that one. He actually did not, which is frankly amazing. Or maybe he just didn't feel like doing that. Anyway, where was I? Ah, of course. I also got reminded tonight of a superb free expansion for Quake 2, courtesy of Night Dive Remaster, which is called Call of the Void. Well, yes, Kix does have a Discord server. I'm in there. You should be in there too at some point too. I think I'll send you an invite, maybe after the stream. Now, I'm getting sidetracked. Where was I? There we go, right here. I love it when Shadowrun Hong Kong just snaps onto the screen without needing to adjust it, unlike, say, Mechanicus or Penny Arcade Adventures. But that's neither here nor there. Let's see where we left off last time, which was somewhere in Haverville, I imagine. Well, this is our new base of operations after all. We just need to speak with the rest of our crew. They, of course, won't be too happy that this is all about me, first things first, but hey, we do need money for that operation. And the rest can have the rest of the money, of course, provided everything goes smoothly. But considering there is a part 3, I imagine there will be a twist during the robbery. Maybe we'll find something we're not supposed to see, and the corpse will decide that we are too much of a hassle to be allowed to live. Before that, though, let's see. There's our new decker, or rather, demolitions expert, excuse me, because the game decided that it's not displaying properly, but let's go over what she's got. She can go in the way of Hellraiser or the Despot. Hellraiser will give her a fire barrier. Dorby becomes even more adept at setting fires. She can set 5 squares of flame for 3 rounds, damaging anyone who passes through by 10 HP. Honestly, 10 HP is not that much, and I never made use of all of these fire walls, acid walls, etc, etc. Or we can give her spell Weaken Armor. Weapon's always useful. Decreases the target's armor by 3 for 3 rounds. Level 3, Hellraiser will give her the Fire Within. Dorby can ignite the flesh inside her foe's bodies, bypassing armor and inflicting 10 HP ongoing damage for 4 rounds. Now that's better. Alternatively, we can give her Stun Immunity. She'll always remain treating at least 1 AP when enemies attempt to stun her. Now that sounds broken, so we'll take in that. Looks like our Pocket Despot now has her portrait fixed. And we'll go over that one too, rather with that one. Anyone else got anything new? Does not look like it. Let's check if we have spoken with everyone, and then we can move on to our next assignment. First of all, Percy. Hey boss, did you want to talk or something? We need to talk about us, you know? Yeah, I think it's a good idea. Percy kicks at an imaginary pebble and looks into your eyes. I've heard everything you've said, right? You seem to like me, or at least are talking like you do. Thing is, I'm never sure how to take that. Some people like to make fun since I'm an orc gal and that, ooh, you're so pretty, kiss me please, ha ha ha. And sometimes folks working on the job together just like to play games to pass the time, but it don't mean nothing. I don't really mind if you've been joking around. No skin off my back, yeah? But the uncertainty is starting to bug me. I don't know if you're my boss, a friend, or want to be something more. You haven't been imagining it. Ah, didn't think so. Percy runs a hand through the hair and takes a deep breath. If anything, she seems even more tense now. I gotta admit I've had my eye on you for a while too. Not like I was looking for someone in my life right now, but still you got a special something going on. I mean, I try not to be shallow, but you are built. Percy squeezes your bicep, whistling in admiration. I wanted to do that for a while. Got the perfect excuse now. You are awfully cute, Percy. I'll say this much. Stop it, Alice. She blushes furiously. I mean, thanks. But I'm a bit sensitive about saying nice things. Let's ease into this, okay? I gotta ask, where do you see this going? You a big commitment lady or what? I think there's potential for something permanent here. Like, what? I need to warn you, marriage ain't exactly common here in the Bay Area. Still, who knows? I won't turn away a sweet woman just because she might actually stick around for a while. Percy moves in close. This is the nearest you've ever been. She smells of machine oil and fried circuits, but at this distance you can catch a whiff of something else. Lavender, maybe? Percy wraps her arms around you, drawing you nearer. Leaning in, her breath warm on your cheek. You look in her eyes. Shit. Not you, sorry. Bad timing. Percy takes a step back but grabs your arm. With her free hand, she pulls out her rigger control console and glances at the screen. That damn drone is acting up again. It's busy chasing some full dwarfs who threw rocks at it. If I don't reprogram it soon, it'll reach threat level 3 and activate the minigun. Gotta add a don't frag your hosts even if they're assholes protocol to its self-defense module. Percy squeezes your arm, then plants a kiss on your startled lips. I swear, I'm not doing this to get out of anything. I'll make it up to you later, okay? She hunches over her console and spends a few minutes furiously typing away. Now, I think we need to talk about the Alameda job now. Really? Why, you still sore about me wrecking your car? It might help clear the air. You know, that whole scene was so hectic I never had a really clear picture of exactly what brought you into the tunnel. You were chasing those gangers, right? More or less. It started in the gauntlet. You describe how you and Rafik raced to the gauntlet after hearing an enormous explosion. The elevated track lay in a twisted heap of the streets, its supporting pillars blown into chunks of concrete embedded in nearby buildings. You quickly grasp the situation. The No They're Theirs, a Go gang affiliated with the Metahuman People's Army, had stolen a SAM launcher and struck back against the rail line, a symbol of humanist supremacy over their neighborhood. Yep, that's them. I'd been dealing with those idiots for months by that point. They were convinced that they could solve all of Calfrey's problems if they just blow up enough crap. Rafik raced over to the wreckage of the train cars, while you jumped back into your auto and took off in pursuit of the gangers. They led you on a hot chase down I-980, then through Jack London Cube and into a tunnel. Which was where you, ran into my little scheme. Yeah, that makes sense now. Those guys caused me way too much grief. They would set off their homemade bombs and fuck up my road and scatter before I'd arrive. I discovered that they were operating out of Alameda, though, so I cooked up a plan. Once I heard that crime go on my Bearcat scanner, I knew they would need to go through Webster Street Tube to get back to the island. Kept my eye on the video feed, waiting for them to enter the tunnel, and BAM! Slammed the gate shut on the far end. What a noise. She grins in satisfaction at the memory. They had no clue, of course. From full speed to zero in nothing flat. Lost a few of their gunners who went through windshields over their handlebars. Good riddance. And that's when I got there. I figured that I'd freak him out a bit, make him turn around, and hopefully chase him into the arms of whatever law there is in Oakland. But then you slammed that hoopty of yours into their rear vehicle, wrecked it, and trapped them all in one place. Loved it. That crazy leader of theirs, what was her name? Steinosaurus? Something like that. Anyway, she got pissed, jumped out of her rig, bullets flying. I sent in my drones from the rear, popped open the gate, rode in on my chopper, pulled out my shotgun. That was such a crazy scene. Gunshots and ricochets everywhere. All I know is that she dropped. Hey, the important thing is that it got done, right? And this way each of us gets to claim the credit. I suppose we'll never know for sure. My chems were fried in the aftermath. That was awesome, and I thought would carry the day. Even though we were still, 2,000 or so of them left, they'd lost their boss and we had the element of surprise. They were more resourceful than I thought, though. They had nothing left to lose. The NTTs always loved explosives. Should have guessed they'd had carted even more with them. She shakes her head in amusement. Should have guessed that. Even when they were stuck in a tight spot with no escape, they'd set us up the bomb. Of course, you know, the rest of the story. Big bang, blow a hole in the tunnel wall, water pouring in everywhere, my drones shorting out, everyone's vehicles fried. Gangers had probably never swum before in their lives, desperately flailing into the bay and just trying to hold our breaths. And I was just trying to hold our breaths. Trying to survive. That was crazy, but thrilling. I feel like I was an action star in a Hollywood trio. Hell yeah. Could feel my adrenaline pumping, blood rushing, bullets flying in slow-mo through the water, just like a badass action scene. It was way too exciting to be scary. Well, can't say I was looking forward to that, but it wasn't so bad, was it? Now we each know what the other was up to, how we ended up in that watery coffin. And hey, I don't think I ever heard what happened after you made it back to shore. Maybe you'll tell me sometime, yeah? Sure thing. Goodbye for now, though. See you around. My type of gal. My type of gal. Now, Dorby, what about you? Hi there. Got any business to discuss? I've heard rumors about your involvement in the 53 war with Tyr Tatenger. Oh, really? And what rumors might those be? I heard that you worked with a Shadowrunner who led the defense of Shasta Dam. Yes, that's right. It was a fateful meeting that changed both of our lives. I got a ticket out of a dead-end job with the Water Gangers, and the runner gained a powerful fire mage who proved an invaluable ally in the struggle against Tyr. It was a whirlwind experience. I've had aspirations, of course. What little girl doesn't dream of one day ruling all the world with an iron fist? But before the invasion, they had only been fantasies. Thanks to the events of the war, I made personal contact with some of the most significant players on the continent and could see up close what true power looked like. Like that runner, who, despite coming from nowhere and not being particularly skilled, forged a set of alliances that changed the course of history. Or Kali, a washed-up singer slumming up as a mid-level corpse sycophant who somehow ended up leading Mitsuhama's Cal-free operations. I realized that success is not as simply a matter of raw ability or intelligence or luck. It's about being at the right place at the time when opportunities present themselves, and then pursuing them with all your might. The universe doesn't automatically reward virtuous competence. We need to seize the opportunities it presents us. And then there's Hestabai. Dorby's gaze grows distant, looking at something far away that only she can see. Never in my life have I felt such raw, overwhelming, untapped power. And she only exposes the barest fraction of the resources available to her. She seems to have had a strong effect on you. Shaking herself out of reverie, Dorby snaps her attention back to you. Hestabai was the best thing to happen to me. After the war, I'd spent years in her presence, absorbing as much insight as I could. I'm afraid that some of her peace and love mumbo-jumbo rubbed off on me. Hell, I'm a bit out of shape from the fiery dynamo I was at the end of the war, but in exchange, I gained a much deeper understanding of my true potential, and so were my personal path lay. I realized that I was sticking to the shadows of those around me, rather than rising above them in my own right. The runner brought me far, but nobody will remember my name when they tell those stories. I've learned that chaos is the perfect opportunity for power. When things are bleakest, when the world is in greatest turmoil, that's when those in authority have their grasps weakened. That's the chance for someone like me to step up, make a play, and become the leader I know I can be. And in the meantime, I need to continue to develop my skills and place myself in harm's way. I'll find the most dangerous place to be, because that's where the greatest opportunities will arise. And I'll surround myself with people who are likely to disrupt the status quo. Whether they end up being enemies or allies, they'll open up new possibilities for me. Well, if you stick with me, you'll find lots of opportunities to excel and achieve your dreams. Or actually, let's be a little bit more proactive. Don't restrict yourself to passivity. Chaos isn't something that just happens, it's something you can help cause. Create your own opportunities. Dorby looks at you with frank approval. Now there's some fantastic thinking. You're right, of course. Being an agent of chaos brings additional risks, but also diminishes the risk of remaining in the status quo. Of course, I'm not about to go around shooting people just for the hell of it, but shooting the right people at the right time... Anyway, good chatting with you, Five-Finger Discount. I hope we understand each other a little better now. You'll find me a very useful ally, and if things go well, you may enable my rise to even greater things. Also, thanks for setting up us here in Haverville. Not a problem. Rafik mentioned that your team had been operating out of his apartment, but I figured if it would be getting crowded with all the extra people you're recruiting. Not that I take up a lot of space, but a dwarf needs her privacy. I really enjoy spending time in my little domain here. I like to keep tabs on how my citizens are going, and running the crew from here makes it easier for me to maintain my political career while furthering your lucrative little scheme. The right crazy chick in the wrong place can make all the difference in the world. That's correct. Dr. Freeman. What brought you to Haverville originally? I gained immense insight during my time with Hastabai, but I eventually tired of living in her shadow. Throughout the Shasta region, everything revolves around her, mostly in form of secular worship. People bringing her gifts, seeking her wisdom, petitioning her support. I feel in awe of her, but at the same time, she's just too nice. Saving the environment, sheltering metahumans, averting wars, it's all stuff that sounds good in theory, but in practice, that means boredom and the lack of opportunity. So I decided to move elsewhere. I passed through Haverville before and have some extended family living in these hills. I wanted to try and start something of my own, to kickstart my own personal political career, so this was a logical spot for me to establish myself. And no mentions of CBT on this here server, or in this here stream. Because I will start quoting the Wikipedia article at you as soon as I pull it up. Is there a particular reason you sought out dwarves? Honestly, it's an entirely pragmatic choice. I don't personally care about metatype one way or another. People are people, whether they have pointed ears or tusks or green skin. I care much more about how you treat me than legions. But I'm also a realist, and I know that other members of my tribe are very into this whole dwarf solidarity movement. Dwarves tend to support other dwarves, just like humans tend to support other humans. I'm more than happy to seize an advantage like that. All things being equal, I figured that I had a better shot at convincing a group of random dwarves to follow my lead than convincing a group of random orcs or elves or whatever. So, Haverville it was. That is an actual critical threat that can hurt me. Good to see that real recognizes real. So what are your plans for Haverville? In the short term, to convince them of my worth and demonstrate the benefits of my leadership. I want them to see that good things happen when they follow my direction. Haverville isn't the goal, though. It's a stepping stone. If I can unite the local dwarves under my leadership and start to act as a unified force here in the Bay Area, well, we could have an enormous influence. Outside of San Francisco, everything is chaotic and divided. We could become a rallying point for the anti-Saito movement, or create another splinter nation, or... well, the possibilities are nearly endless. And after that, one step at a time, I suppose. But Haverville is only the beginning. Just you wait and see. Oh, we'll see. I hope this isn't going to be a problem. I'm very capable of multitasking, and my political operations here won't interfere with my contributions to your team. If anything, they will enhance it, by giving you a large and friendly population that can help shelter you if things go south. You seem to be really good at dwarf wrangling, so keep it up. Thanks. The way I figured I'm moving up the hierarchy. Start with dwarf wrangling, then move on to human wrangling, orc wrangling, and so on. Convincing elves to follow me may be more challenging, and it's tough to physically shove trolls around, but with enough practice I'm sure I'll get there. Especially if you make yourself an aliens-type power suit. That would be definitely helpful in troll wrangling. Keep your eyes peeled, Five-Finger Discount. Haverville is going through a period of intense transition, with the old guard feeling threatened and striking back through the HPF, while younger progressive dwarves and their metahuman allies are acting to change the composition of this place and expand Haverville's identity beyond merely being a den of dwarf survivalists. Well, we live in interesting times. I don't know how it's all going to end, but I'm sure that I'll be at the forefront of whatever emerges. Your train job is exciting, and I could be a great catalyst to my career. But I'm even more excited by the changes that will be coming to Haverville and the greater Bay Area. You might want to stick around after the job is over and take part in my rise to power. We'll see about that. Next, Cora, what do you have to say? What's new? You're sure keeping me busy. I've had to put my classes on hiatus for now so I can help Profit run support for this little escapade. It's been really fun though. I've enjoyed putting some of my decking skills to actual real world use, instead of just demonstrating them at a safe testing environment. It's been interesting having Sable around too. We got to know each other pretty well when he was attending the People's University, but you see a whole other side of a person when you're living in close quarters with them. Did he behave well in class? People like Sable can be hella annoying for us teachers. We're all secretly worried that one of our students will show up and make us lose face in front of our class. Sable wasn't like that though. He acted like an unofficial and unpaid teacher's assistant. He would chat with other students who were having a tough time with something and give them some one-on-one attention while I was leading the rest of the class. Most of them appreciated it, though some seemed bothered by him. And I have to say, I don't think I've ever met anyone as curious as him. Any topic at all, no matter how big or small, he'll ask endless questions until he completely understands it. I couldn't answer most of his queries, but he didn't seem to mind. He's like a truffle pig, endlessly rooting around until he finds what he's after. I feel congratulating Haverville on its bottom surgery could be interpreted as a short joke, so I'm not gonna go there. Well, that's very high and noble of you. How do you feel about Sable joining the team? Oh, quite good. He's the most talented decker to have passed through my class, and between his raw skills and his hands-on experience with Shiawase's networks, he's a fantastic choice for your team. Plus, he has a really fascinating background. You should chat with him sometime if you haven't already. I don't know how he found time to keep up his decking with all the other stuff he's been involved in. Do you have any concerns about Sable that I should be aware of? Sable is solid, but don't mistake him for being virtuous. He doesn't really care about the plights facing metahumans or the threat of global corporate machinations. To him, the world is just filled with things. They aren't good or bad, just things to understand. That said, I don't think it will impact your mission at all. He's honest and seems to enjoy working with you, so he will see the job through to the end. Just don't be surprised if, after all this is done, he ends up working for Colonel Saito or something awful like that. Thanks for the insight. He's a mercenary through and through, then. Rafik, how's it going? Report back there, champ. I can always count on you to bring it in. Do you like living in Haverville now? I hate dealing with these short ceilings. You'd think that this place was built for dwarves or something. In all seriousness, it feels kind of strange being here. I spent years sharing mercantile information with the Haverville guilds, but we always met on my turf. Other than some short trips to visit Cora's parents, this is the first time I've stayed here. It's great seeing Cora back in her element. She grew up here, and it's been years since she saw some of her old friends and extended family. I don't think she wants to stay here for much longer, though. She enjoys being close to the action, where the corps rub shoulders with the MPA and PU. Haverville is a bit safe for her. Is that safe for you too? Well, since you bring it up, I felt like things are a little off since I arrived. The dwarves here are all proud of the peaceful, independent kingdom they've created. They point to Saito's mistake in kicking all metahumans out of San Francisco, and they're eager to show the world what an awakened society should look like. But even though everyone pays lip service to tolerance, I sure as hell don't feel welcome here. Those ceilings are just a start. They could easily make them just a couple feet taller, but the Diggers Guild claims that it isn't worth the expense, since, like, 95% of the population here is dwarf. Of course, if the ceilings were higher, then more non-dwarves would move here, which is exactly why they won't dig deeper, even though they won't come out and say it. What really bothers me, though, is the Haverville Protection Front. Those guys make my skin crawl. They always follow me around, watching where I'm going, who I'm talking to, what I'm shopping for. Yeah, that sounds uncomfortable. When I confront them, they claim it's because I'm a recent arrival and a security threat. Funny thing is, though, plenty more dwarves come in here every day, and none of them get followed by paramilitary tails. Only the big teethy guys like me do. The whole purpose of the HPF is supposedly to protect the integrity of Haverville or whatever. They're smart enough to not just say kick out the trogs, but it's pretty clear that they want to ensure that Haverville remains a place that's welcoming to dwarves and only to dwarves. I really don't want to freak out Cora, so I try to play it cool. I mean, I'm a big orc. I can take it. It just irks me to realize that anyone else who looks like me will face the same sort of trouble if they try to settle down here. You should investigate what they are up to. Simple harassment today may lead to worse problems in the future. Well, I don't want to distract from the train job, but if I'll try to keep an eye on them while we prepare. At the very least, we don't want them interfering and mucking up our plans. Has the HPF been bothering you too? I get some mild harassment, mostly bureaucratic stuff. Yeah, that seems to be their preferred weapon, nitpicking every small inconsequential thing they stumble across. Forget to declare entry, they'll berate you for violating security protocols. Declare entry, they'll accuse you of wasting their precious time. Announce your trade balance, they say you're lording wealth over them. Keep your trade balance private, they'll say you have something to hide. And of course, dwarves never need to deal with that crap. Alright, Alice, stay safe out there, and watch your back. You too, take care. That one's our bedroom. That's another bedroom. And out in the Little York, do we have anything new to look around? Just a couple of guys to speak to, most likely traders. Oh, and looks like I also forgot to check out the stash. Just to see if we've got anything interesting in there. No, just this wild one, which we cannot use. And of course, secure adept clothing. We should consider getting us a better melee weapon, because machete is fine, but it'll only carry us so far. So in that case, Horatio, you got anything good? The dwarf is studiously examining the book. He does not react as you approach. Hey. Isn't it my lucky day? A customer. I suppose you want to give me new yen in exchange for items. How original. What sort of items do you sell? Stuff with wires in it, and electricity, I guess. At least as long as it's plugged in or has batteries. I don't think the electricity stays in otherwise. But yeah, if you need any cyberdecks or drones or other nerdy stuff like that, I'm your dwarf. Do you have any higher quality equipment? What you see is what you get. I couldn't tell you if it's great or crap. Well, that's not... My distributors keep dumping new stuff on me all the time, though, which means I need to sell those things too, so you might want to check back later. That's not exactly what I'm looking for, so I'll see you around maybe never. Next up, Croyne. Welcome to Croyne's House of Magic, proudly serving our fine dwarven neighbors for over 2 decades. What can I do for you? You mentioned that you've been in business here for a while. That's right. Sadly, I wasn't one of the original founders of Haverville, but my family moved here a few years after ground initially broke. The timing was fortunate. We used to run a wholesale distribution center out of Soma back in the city. When Saito rolled into town, his anti-metahuman policies forced a lot of us dwarves out, which just so happened to leave prime real estate and business opportunities for his Japanese megacorp friends. We were luckier than most, though. We lost the property, but kept most of our new yen and our contacts, so we were able to rebuild here in Haverville. We've been happily selling here ever since. Are you still bitter about being expelled from San Francisco? Strangely enough, not so much. Don't get me wrong, those early years were horrible. In retrospect, though, it ended up being a good opportunity for us. Back in San Francisco, we were always at a disadvantage. It's nearly impossible to remain independent in a world dominated by megacorps, so we had to try and cut deals with bigger distributors. And of course, the big guy will try to screw over the small guy any chance they get. Out here, though, I can be my own boss. I don't need to worry about Saito's boots stomping on me, or some daisy-eating elf with better connections stealing away a prime contract. I'm much happier to be in charge of a small market than a wage slave in a larger one. Speaking of, do you face a lot of competition here? Well, it's definitely a capitalist free market, but a remarkably friendly one. It helps that Haverville is rapidly growing, so there is plenty of business for everyone. I have trouble maintaining enough stock, which is not the worst problem to have. That's been changing lately, though. Now that more and more outsiders are coming in, we're seeing new shopkeepers setting up who have strong connections to the outside world. Orc families are huge, so they might send a younger son to compete in Haverville, while the others hold down the fort in Richmond. Not that I'm too worried. Most folks here understand that dwarf craftsmanship means quality, and dwarf merchants mean trustworthiness. How's the rest of your family doing? My and Pa passed a few years ago, so now I am leading the family. It's been an extra weight on my shoulders, but not an unwelcome one. I can make sure that the next generation receives their deserved fruits of our labors. Most of the clan are happy to be here in Haverville. There are a couple of complainers. Some of my nephews thought that the culture here was too stifling and left to experience real life in Oakland. They'll return. I guess I can't blame them for wanting to see how other types have it, but once they've had enough of the filth and squalor of life outside, I'm sure they'll beg us to take them back. Well, that's all. Show me your merchandise, Magic Man. Those are all for shamans, naturally. Same for mages. Stun Ball. Magical explosion that does minus 1 AP and ongoing minus 1 AP that lasts 2 rounds. If I were a mage man, I would have used that one. For now, though, I'll keep it as is. Any other vendors around? Maybe. There's the XHBF mage we saved. Hey, I wanted to thank you for sparing me back in the depths. I feel awful about what they did. My friends, I mean. Oh, it was all supposed to be harmless, putting on a show, but it went so much further than I thought. You stopped once you realized that what was happening. That's what counts. Thanks to you. If you hadn't given me an out, I would have gone through with killing that orc family. I don't know if I could live with myself if that had happened. I'll be doing what I can to make things right with the orcs and trolls we were hurting. Anyway, take care. You're a good woman. And you're a good man. Also, thank you for 1 free karma. There's the infirmary, which means this is where we buy medical supplies, out in the slums. This way? Yeah, this way. There she is, Dr. Toller. Well, look at you, all ambulatory and everything. Yes, that is some mighty fine handiwork, if I may say so myself. Thanks for patching me up. Oh, think nothing of it. It's just another day in the life of an insanely talented surgeon. But do think of it long enough to pay me my fee, of course. But enough reminiscing, old friend. I imagine that you are here to discuss other matters, yes? Perhaps I can sell you some medical supplies, or your choice of illegal narcotics. What are you doing in Haverville, by the way? At the moment, you are my biggest investment. I already sunk a lot of time, money, and sweat into that body of yours, and I don't want anything to happen to it until I've had a chance to recoup my costs. I heard through the grapevine about Dorby offering you sanctuary here. I've been thinking for a while of expanding, so this seemed like a good opportunity to open up a new location for my clinic. Lots of these dwarves think of themselves as hardcore survivalists and love stocking up on more ammo and medicine than they'll ever realistically need to use. And what about your other clinic? My nephew is watching the shop for me. He's only 10 years old, but he has a shotgun, so it should be okay. I doubt my irregular customers will even notice. They'll stagger in, toss down some credits, get their fix, and wander back out. In the long term, I might work out some sort of residency program, get my underlings to man the counters, and shuffle myself back and forth to do the trickier stuff like implants. For now, though, I'm totally focused on getting this Haverville shop off the ground. So, you've sold to a lot of the dwarves here? A fair amount, though surprisingly I've sold even more to the orcs and trolls. Apparently a lot of them are worried about something bad happening and want to be prepared for the worst. Ah yes, the pogroms. Bad for them, good for me. Strife and fear do wonders for my bottom line. Do they know how unqualified you are? Huh, these dwarves have rejected everything about the outside world, the Imperial Marines, the mass media, accreditation boards, standards and practices. To surfacers, I'm a dangerously unskilled surgeon. To the halfers here, I'm a romantic rebel who plays by her own rules. Fun stuff. Do you have any ideas on how I can raise some more money? Not anything that comes close to the astronomical sums I'm charging you, no. But if you want a little walking around money, I know a guy who knows a guy who publishes VR games for Mitsuhama Entertainment. He's been complaining that kids these days are all into the dark, gritty world of Shadowrunners, and the studios are having trouble connecting with the target demo. Developers are still cranking out awakened creature sims, which are selling like shit. There's still some time to slap together a playable demo before DeckCon 2057 rolls around. What do you say? Want to try a hand at breaking into the biz? I could use some extra cash. From what I can tell, the publishers don't care at all about what type of game it is. They just want to tag it with the word Shadowrunning and start cranking it out. So, it's up to you. What kind of game would you like to make? A dating simulator? Right. The key is to get a playable version out into the market as soon as possible. Start finding your fanbase, then evolve the game over time in response to your analytics. Let's see. You'll need a programmer to code up the engine, unique art assets, and quality assurance testers to make sure it actually works. Here, take this 3D recorder. It'll automatically record during your fights. We should be able to extract realistic 3D imagery and animation from it, which you can use for some cool art that only you will have access to. Let me know once you have all that stuff lined up, and I'll get Mitsuhama Entertainment involved. Let's see about that VR game I'm making. I'm gonna need either Decking 6 to code the engine myself, or we'll need programming, art, and QA. Never mind, I never do. Let's see, what supplies do you have? Standard stuff so far. Dockwagon, regular and gold trauma kits, jazz, medikits, cram, bliss, toko, nitro. Jazz would not go amiss for this one, and the advanced medkit. And I'm thinking the gold trauma kit, plus maybe cram too. I'll take it all. And I'm done here for now. Thank you for chatting me up. I'll see you later. Now what was that? Make a VR game. There's the motion capture 3D recorder and game requirements. A game engine, QA testers, footage from your 3D recorder. Also, let's spend some karma while we are at it. I'm thinking we go for quickness so that we can move farther, or maybe something else. A little bit of close combat, I suppose. Unarmed too. And where is it? Spellcasting. The rest we'll be spending once we accumulate enough points. Shadowrun in your heart would be a good choice of a name. I greet you. On behalf of all meta-humankind, I thank you for considering commerce with me. To avert future surprises, allow me to explicitly state my affiliations. I am an orc, and I am a proud member of the October 25th Alliance. Should you wish to purchase armaments from me to protect your body, I will gladly sell them to you. Should you wish to discuss the plight of meta-humans in the Bay Area and the great struggle to lift them up, I will gladly speak for free. First of all, show me your weapons. I hope you've got some good melee weapons. So far, those are only ranged weapons, but if we scroll down to somewhere there, also nice G11 derivative there, or maybe an upgrade, but there we go. There you are. Hand-forged katana. Oh, close combat 5. Same with an axe. But we can grab a katana. And then it's either Ardent Phoenix. On crit will ignite the target for 5 to 7 additional damage. Or Distant Storms Foretold. On critical hit does an additional -1 AP shock damage for 2 rounds. But those will require close combat 5 and chi casting 5, so ways away on that one. But I will go with a regular bitch-ass katana. And we'll sell our old machete. Plus I'm thinking we'll sell the wild one too. No, we don't have need of it. So, tell me about the October 25th Alliance. Our organization was born on the date when the Imperial Marines first landed in San Francisco, although we did not recognize our plight at that time. In the early days, our people dared to hope that they would save us from the encroaching elves of Tyr Tairinger. It swiftly grew apparent, though, that we had merely exchanged one conqueror for another. Worse, Colonel Saito and his troops began ruthlessly enforcing the anti-metahuman policies of their homeland. San Francisco, briefly a shining beacon of equality and opportunity, became synonymous with oppression. And many others of similar sentiment joined with Norton's army, a chaotic but well-intentioned collective of metahumans that allies who sought to resist and eventually depose Saito. A noble goal. Our figurehead was Emperor Norton, a delusional visionary and pacifist who dearly wanted to replace Saito's hate with a platform of love. Norton's army provided refuge for those with no place to go, and over time we developed into a force that assisted the defenders of Reading during the Battle of Shasta Dam. In the years since then, our faction has splintered. Some followed in the footsteps of Norton's former lieutenant Shavarus, who believed that Saito can only be deposed through violence. They call themselves the Metahuman People's Army and brutally carry out scorched earth operations to spread chaos and achieve their goals. You do remember Emperor Norton, right? Looks like he survives well into 21st century, or at least his lineage is. In response, I and some like-minded individuals formed the October 25th Alliance. We also work to oppose Saito, but believe it is a quality important to form the basis for a civil society that can stand after he departs. We seek to balance direct action with social development. So what sorts of direct action do you take? Our primary goal is to act as a multiplier, to give individuals the tools they need to be effective. We teach firearms training in self-defense classes, sell body armor, and instruct people in how to evade or disrupt standard Marine patrols. On occasion, Alliance affiliates might kill a Marine squad who is sweeping it through Oakland or destroy an incoming weapons shipment. We carefully review such operations ahead of time, though, to ensure there are no civilian casualties and that the benefits justify the risk. Do you oppose the MPA? No. We may disagree on tactics and effectiveness, but we share a common goal. To pick a somewhat obscure example from 20th century, you might think of my organization as a rough equivalent to Sinn Féin, and the MPA as a modern-day IRA. We do not colloquially or coordinate, but we pursue the same objective using our distinct tactics. Along similar lines, we run our operations completely separately from the People's University, but I cannot deny that there is a regular flow of people between us. PU members who wish to take a stand tend to move to our side, while Alliance agents who grow weary or frightened may retreat to the relative calm of the PU. And here's the big question. How effective are you? It is difficult to say. Saito is still in power and metahumans continue to suffer, so by those measures we appear to have failed. However, it is impossible to know how much worse this region may have become if it were not for our efforts. Our struggle may have prevented Saito from extending beyond the city proper and into the rest of the Bay Area. Our best results are seen not in the condition of our enemy, but on the condition of ourselves. We have organized neighborhoods, raised self-defense militias, created networks of support and communication, and helped foster a sense of pride in metahuman identity, particularly among disenfranchised orcs and trolls. Where Saito once faced a fractured and incoherent foe, he now must confront a confident, equipped, and determined opposition. I see. Indeed. Talk to you later. Fare you well. Now, how about you, Zoe? Hey, sailor. Looking for a good time? And you are? You can call me Zoe. I can make all of your dreams come true. For a little while, for a reasonable price. And what brought you to Haverville? Some smugglers brought me in. Things are real bad in El Infierno down in LA, so I got in debt to some scary gangers and now I need to work it off. I thought it would be better here, but it's all work all the time. I'm worried I won't see my family again. Well, I'm a little busy right now, so no sex scenes. Another time then. And your businesses? Look at the doggies. Those are some nice specimens. A vet came by and asked if I wanted to adopt any doggies. Said some nice woman rescued the hounds from a ski rebuilding in Oakland. Now they can play fetch and run around like they always wanted. And that gave us an extra bit of karma. Not enough to invest into chi casting or... what was it? Spell casting. But we'll hold on to it. We'll invest into chi casting once we get just a little bit more karma. And then willpower, spellcasting, chi casting yet again. So all in all, yes, Haverville is not a bad place to be. Especially if you're a dwarf. With all that running around, we have explored practically everything around here, and then we can move on. Well, the party is still lively here, but I don't see anyone to talk to. So I suppose we can get out of here. Not exactly my style, but I do dig it. To an extent, of course. Yeah, I think that's everything. First of all, I think we're gonna go and look for a train engine in Alameda. For that one, we're gonna take Percy, Dorby, and Sable. Back in the 20th century, Alameda was the site of a United States Navy base, housing the Pacific Fleet's nuclear vessels. More recently, it became associated with the other pillars of old American society, rampant free market capitalism. The last vestiges of military supremacy have been swept away, replaced by a sprawling array of shops and vendors, converging in the ad hoc orgy of consumerism known as the Alameda Antiques Fair. Of course, whenever money exchanges hands, someone will want a cut. In the largely lawless environs of the East Bay, that someone inevitably belongs to a gang. The fair has been the site of numerous turf wars between various go gangs, paramilitary organizations, and organized crime syndicates. Violence hasn't stopped the wheels of commerce from spinning, and if anyone has the train engine you need, they're likely to be selling it here. Yep, it is that Alameda. Like that, then we grab Krem. Another one goes to Percy. A third one to Dorby. And finally, Goldbug and Trauma Kit to Sable just in case. Come on now, game. You can be a little bit faster than that. I know you are. There we go. No, we don't have enough karma to spend right now. We'll get to that one later. What are you selling? Welcome to the Antiques Fair. Can I help you with anything? Do you feel like running an ad in 5 minutes? Maybe. Where is everyone? There's been a sporadic fighting on the island all day long. At first we thought it was an upstart gang trying to horn in on the Metahuman People's Army territory, but it looks like they're a lot more organized than that. They aren't specifically targeting the merchants, but after Dave was killed in a crossfire, most people packed up their goods and skedaddled. We don't much care for who we pay protection money to, but volatility is always bad for business. I'm looking for a train engine. There is a train engine on the island, but I don't think it's for sale. You should talk to Caleb. He's sort of a business-to-business entrepreneur. He patched up the spur line. It takes daily cargo runs to Jack London Cube, bringing bulk merchandise to the fair for sale. He keeps the engine locked down when not in use, but maybe the two of you can work something out. Check out the bunker to the west. That's where he runs the train yard controls. Take care. I mean that literally. It's dangerous out there. I hope you come back another day and see the fair when it's a bit more hospitable. Oh no, here they come again. I have to get out of here. Time to hustle some hustlers. Or rustle some hustlers. In any case, there will be bloodshed. Next, we hide over here and activate Steel Links Mark II. And Steel Links will go to town on this one. NC Captain. Do you know what NC stands for? Not yet, but we'll find out soon enough. Flamethrower. And Sable, excuse me, can go to town on that one. NC could stand for Night City, but then again, wrong franchise. Even though they'll pretend they're superior franchise because they don't have dragons, it's all about cyberpunk. I gotta dig up that comic about the... what was it? About how cyberpunk is supposedly superior to Shadowrun. But that one comes later. After the stream. Catch? And you still missed. Too bad for you. How far away can we toss this fireball? Decent enough. Here you go. And now you're on fire. How about you? No, my day's on fire. How about yours? That's how that went. Up, heal up, and grenade. After all that glitters is gold, but every shooting star breaks the mold. Sable, will you be a deer and finish off that captain? Almost there, but at least he is out of commission. There we go. Everything's set, and we can continue. Ah, more of them. They're trying to harass Caleb. I was being cute trying to sneak up on them. Didn't quite work. And we got it into a bit of an AoE range. Well, let's do this thing. Let's make it happen, Captain. Thinking we go over here. Start blasting at the one with a shotgun. The heavy. Well, how would you like some AoE on your end? You sure like it. I am overjoyed. Now for a cutlass. Oh, of course you still have more grenades. You stay right there. Let me see where that other one was. He was somewhere here. But I can't pinpoint where. No, I guess we'll do this the old-fashioned way by luring him out. And making sure he suffers. Yep, to little bits. Now you there, the captain, have fun with your armor being stripped and your heavy on fire. Now some healing would be appreciated. A flashbang would also not go amiss, but it did miss. Like so. Come on, a little better. I know you can do it. Especially you, little drone that could. See, he's right there. But he's being a bit of a bitch about it. Just need to target him properly, but I can't seem to lock on the guy. Well, we can at least try to deal with the captain first. Yep, like that. Where were you? Maybe tab will help. No, tab is just scrolling through the available characters. That's Percy. Fascinating. I suppose we'll just go with the flow. Down goes the captain. I can't exactly look for a blue outline considering it's hidden behind all of these. So we'll just spread out a little bit. And let them come to us. There you are. I've been wondering where you'd hide your pretty face out there. So thank you for finally showing up. Do care, did asked, now please die. Thank you. And loot the cred stick off the NC captain. So, hey there, Caleb. Oh, thank you for rescuing me. Those people are cold-blooded. I thought if I cooperated in everything they would let me go, but they were still going to execute me. I'd be dead if you hadn't arrived when you did. Who are those people? Some new gang or paramilitary organization or something. They call themselves the Native Californians. Dozens of goons suddenly arrived in force today. They must be expanding from another territory because their forces are incredibly well armed and trained. Ah, you might be recalling them from our first encounter with Sable. They're the Humanis Poly Club kind of organization. This isn't the first turf war I've suffered through, but usually the fighters just go after each other and keep us civilians for future payments. The NCs are different though. They only seem to care about territory. They'll kill anyone who doesn't get out of their war quickly enough. Ad break after this dialogue. And who are you? My name is Caleb. I own that bar to the north. It used to be a military bunker back when Alameda was a naval base. I've remodeled it over the years. Now the above ground area is a watering hole for all the locals, and below ground is where I run my train operation. What do they want from you? They wanted my train. I didn't think it would be that big of a deal. I have standard rates that they should be able to pay, but they insisted on taking it and control of the train yard away from me. What do you think that is? One of them let slip something about Saito. I couldn't quite catch the details, but it's clearly bad news. Life in the city is already hell for metahumans. If he links up with a human supremacist group in the East Bay, the range of his cruelty will grow vastly larger. If we're lucky, they just want a way to run guns and explosives between the ports, their armories, and the front lines of their attacks. I fear, though, that it could be for something even more sinister. I've heard rumors of Saito establishing camps in underpopulated areas in the Central Valley and busting entire neighborhoods of metahumans out there. Or maybe bussing. What those camps are for, I cannot say, but I've never heard of anybody returning from them. If those rumors are true, then the NCs could move far more victims secretly away on an unregistered train like mine. It horrifies me to think that my work could somehow be supporting such a scenario. So they have the train now? They will soon. I ran the train yard switches from a control room in that old bunker to the north. The NCs have found run of the place now, and it's only a matter of time before they figure out how to release it. I see. Yeah, I never should have let them inside, no matter what they threatened. So can I use your train engine? Absolutely. I would have hated to give it up, but now that the NCs have their eyes on it, I would feel infinitely better with a well-armed runner in possession of it than risk them returning to it for it in even greater force. You'll have to move quickly to get it, though. They took my keycard that opens the bunker. Some of their soldiers are already inside, and the rest are leaving to call more people to reinforce the area. If you hurry, you might be able to catch the vanguard while they're still vulnerable. Good luck. And luck we're gonna need. NERPs. Buy them at your local S2. And speaking of that, at your suggestion, time to run the ad, which was... Let's see... Over here. I will see you in a bit. All good suggestions. Actually, I can automate this process to an extent if we look at add times. And we can tune it to say, make it automatic. And that would be a 1 minute ad every hour. I can of course try to increase it to say 3 minutes, which would make it 1.5 minutes of ads per half an hour. But for now I'm keeping it on the second to lowest setting, which is, as I mentioned, 1 minute per hour. We'll see whether this one works out. Now then, what was it? Okay, back to it then. Let's see where that bunker was. It should be over here, ideally. But I'm not seeing anything else. So I suppose we try a different door. One per hour is the baseline for most of the small VTubers I follow. Just as I thought. I'm sure the door is supposed to be opening in here, but something tells me that it's not happening for one reason or another. This is the point where I say, what other viewers? Because unfortunately, you and I are alone here. Which is not something I'd like. Well, well, look what we have here. Some knight in shining armor here to rescue the poor defenseless citizens of Alameda? Claude spits contemptuously on the ground as his minions draw their weapons. I suppose you feel like a big woman taking down our crew at the Yorkland Raiders hideout. You managed to kill, what, a whole 3 people? No wonder everyone in the East Bay thinks you're a worthless poser. You'll never get any reps so long as you pick on easy targets. Well, I'll tell you what, you're worse than the gangers. At least the MPA has the balls to face us. At least the Raiders fought to hold onto their territory. What have you ever done? Skulked from place to place, begging for help from whoever would listen, running away when the going gets tough. That's all you Shadowrunners are good for, running and hiding from the punishment you deserve. I hear a lot of talking. Let's see if you have the force to back it up. Pah, you aren't worthy my time. I have powerful allies to appease. He begins to saunter away, calling back over his shoulder. Take care of this rubbish by the time I return with the rest of our crew. Get access to the community tab, so I know there are other people here right now, just not gonna name them. Well, hopefully so, because right now it's only showing us 1 viewer. But I imagine there are other people. Hopefully. Now then, now that they're all nice and bunched up, we still have 1 flashbang to break out, but moved away too soon. Ah well. Ah, goddammit. Fine, I suppose we'll go for something a bit more traditional. So come on, Dorby, don't miss. There we go. A little better now. Time to get in and start breaking faces. Same with this NC Heavy. Now give them a bit. They'll disperse. Take some damage from burning. And we can disperse as well, so that they can break out their own grenades. Come on now. You can do better than that. Over here. That should be a nice flank. Especially if we go for a headshot. Boom. Headshot. 64% chance to hit, baby! You'll love to see it. Especially with them crits. I'll take out the heavies while they are out of it. Or at least chop them down. Nice and cubical. And a 1. And a sniper. Of course, that's a miss. 37% chance to hit after all. But they are almost done for. Almost. 1 and 2. Remember, 1, 2 punch. You punch them on 1, and you punch them on 2. And you keep asking questions while you're punching. A little better. Like that. Reload. Okay, hit the target. 42% chance. Let's give it a try. Yeah, that's how can explosions miss. They just duck and cover, I suppose. 1 more. Fine. We'll do it this way. Now get me their key card. Now we should be able to get into the bunker. Which I am hearing is a decent Amnesia title. Damn it! Percy's face abruptly scrunches into a scowl. She hunches over, her fingers reflexively gesturing towards her data jack. Anything I can do? Getting some feedback from one of my drones. Looks like it's picking up cross chatter from an unmanned aircraft they sent up to keep an eye out on us. It's confusing its inputs and outputs, telling me what I already know. She trails off into mumbling as her eyes rapidly flick back and forth, tracking the configuration of an interface only she can sense. Does this happen often? Nah, not so much. I customize every bot and vehicle I get, give them unique signaling patterns that keep them from getting confused. Only run into this problem when I have too much personal hardware operating in a closed area. It's the drone's fault, mostly. I prefer big vehicles, something major I can focus on piloting. But for jobs like this one, where we need to worry about folks with guns shooting at us, well, the drones are much more useful than an engine-wheeler, 18-wheeler. I miss old Betty. So once interference does strike, how do you resolve it? In the short term, while I little patch on the fly and do a hot restart. Basically tell it to ignore the other machine and just talk directly with me. After we get back to base, I'll check my multiplex algorithm, run some unique IDs through it, and basically give everyone a new name. Why are you so curious anyway? You thinking of becoming a rigger? The idea does appeal to me. I already have the necessary hardware. I might dabble in it someday. It isn't a game, you know. Lots of folks think anyone who can fly a quadcopter is a rigger. These machines, they're like your pets. You rescue them, care for them, feed them, watch them grow, treat them right, and they will repay you by saving your life over and over again. That sounds fascinating. Your description makes me want to experience rigging even more. A decker-rigger combination would certainly be a sight to behold, Sable. One of the buildings remaining from Alameda's time as a naval base, the Booze Bunker, has wet many whistles in its new life as a purveyor of spirits both fine and foul. The patrons appear to have been scared off by the fracas outside, leaving you to control the eerie calm by yourself. I wonder, is the US Navy still dry as of 2025? Because I cannot remember. And I kind of forgot to ask our resident USN members. Let's see. Heavy, soldier, captain. An access network hidden inside the arcade machine. That's clever. Oh, we just moved in. And that's how you greet the neighbors? Ah, more of them. Now that's more like it. Of course, he misses and crits me. That I cannot tolerate. Time to do some crap. Still is, huh? I see. Killing hands. And that heavy is getting his face smashed in. Let's see. Yeah, I'm thinking we get over here. We strip away some... No, not yet. Just blast away that soldier. Should be the most optimal option. Let them come a little closer. Especially once they start missing with shotguns like that. The rifles are still fine. And we'll deal with them on a case-by-case basis. Especially with that kneecapper over here. Now, please don't hit me. Okay, Dorby? Dorby, I just asked you to not hit me. Ay, 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 this woman. This woman might be the death of me. we do what we must, because we can. Die, die, die! A sentiment I share fully, Percy. You should be burning to death by next turn. Let's focus on the captain now. Pommel strike. There we go. -3 AP. And just so that you don't get any funny ideas, I'll deal with you too. Ah, 80% shot. Unfortunate. Come on. Put a little more backbone into it. I know you can. And how very nice that now we've got all of the supplies restocked. We just need to get Steel Mother over there closer. Dorby, can you hit him reliably from this far away? 78% chance. I know you can. You did. Wonderful. Once more with feeling. That's a miss. Sable, can you repeat the pommel strike? I don't think you can just yet, so thrust and a regular strike. Almost got the bastard. Now we just need one good shot from the drone, and there we go. Tolar's 3D recorder lets out a satisfied beep. It appears they have acquired sufficient footage to produce the art assets needed for your dating simulator game. Ah, and that's the bartender, I'm guessing. Yep. First of all, we loot that cred stick. Another 513 new yen. Now we can speak with the bartender. Don't end any barts. Not that we don't have any in our team. Still. Whew, thanks for clearing those ruffians out. Now I can get my drink on. Do you know Caleb? Oh, sure, I run bar for him. I also help manage the place, keep it clean and tidy, book the entertainment, make sure we're well stocked with liquor, all the essentials. How do I get down to the train control area? Why don't you look at this as a game? Have a little look around, see if you can spot it. If you still can't locate it, I'll point it out for the low price of 50 new yen. I've cased countless joints in my day. It isn't fun anymore. Just tell me where it is. Have a look. It's right over there, underneath the carpet. Can you open the hatch for me? It's like all the way over there. I hate leaving my bar. Tell you what, if you go down there, you'll be killing a bunch of NCs and stealing their loot. I'll help you out. If I help you out, it's only fair that I get a share. I'd like upfront 150. I'm very familiar with farming out small jobs, and trust me when I say that you aren't worth it. Piece of cake. They'll nickel and dime you all the way through. But first, let's access that network. Sable, you're up. Immediately thrown into combat as per usual. Shield ASP, no. Let's start with Erosion. And then a blaster over here. Auf Wiedersehen! Not a challenge. Oh, cameras, bills of lading. Let's start with the cameras. Of course, they are gonna have another welcoming committee. But at least it's not Itty Bitty Titty Committee. That would be a whole nother story and a whole nother game. Before you ask, no, I don't know where I remember Itty Bitty Titty Committee from. That's just something that pops up into my head once in a while whenever I spout random BS like right now. Because having ADHD is fun. In capital F-U-N letters. What a waste. But first of all, everyone get their hacking on. Which one was it? Once again, please. No. Oh, it was supposed to be that one. Alright, once more with feeling. See, now it's working as intended. Hack the cameras. No bills of lading. No funny business. I too remember random shit from 15 years ago for no reason. Sometimes that's how memory works. Pay data, shipping manifests. These documents provide detail about which brands are most commonly requested by sellers at the antiques fair. A canny analyst could anticipate current and upcoming trends based on the info shown here. Well, we're done here, so into the bunker we go. Oh, and of course they're greeting us right off the bat with a dog. As Charles might say, dog. D-A-W-G. Now, Dorby, how would you like to take your place at this here ley line and start blasting? I know you'd like to. Come on. A little more, put a little more into it, Percy. Same with you, Sable. The dog is out of commission for now. They're hacking into the... Ah, of course. No, it's spelled D-A-W-G, if you're feeling gangsta. On the right side, we do have a flashbang grenade on call. Oh, Steel Links, go. And Brobodoc, go. First of all, Sable, heal yourself up. Now we can put the dog to sleep and start working on that captain. Well, that was fast. Now we just need to break into this one. No, I think he's just on his gangsta phase. He likes calling everyone dog. He might be listening in, and I'd rather not. Anyway, this conversation is taking an awful awfully... Right, switching immediately. Otherwise I will get confused. Sometimes making sound effects is worth the while. Especially if you do those sound effects with your own mouth. Door B, you get over here. Of course, 70% is gonna be a miss. Well, gotta do this the old-fashioned way. Shiver me timbers. Another one. Another one. One more. Unfortunately. I suppose we can still do this. Fine. 70. Door B, get it together. Take a... Sable, I was just about to praise you. There we go. Much better. You, however, you asshole, are untargetable as of this point. This is not sitting right by me, so I suppose we just move into position to do those three. Yep, there they are. File on in, because that's exactly where I want you to be. Now, Dorby, would you be so kind as to blast them all? Yes, with the steel links. We can fix her up. Over here. Now, back to the steel links. Engage basic self-repair protocol first things first. And now start blasting. Same with the mechadock over here. Just roll on up. We throw hands. But unfortunately, it's a miss. Ah, well, we'll just let them come a little closer. Especially if they get distracted by the drone. Remember the wise words of Northern Lion. Whenever a woman with a wolf cat wants to kill you, just say, no you don't. You just want universal healthcare and basic income. So don't get distracted, okay? Focus on the mission at hand. Much better now. Much, much better. That's what they all say. Aha. So, operator? Wait, don't shoot! There, I just released the train from lockdown. You got what you came for. I can leave now, right? What's the harm? He's just one man. If he turns against us, we can just as easily kill him later on. I agree with Sable's assessment. Let him go. Oh, thank you. With the native Californians in disarray, there is a power vacuum in Alameda. You don't have the manpower to capitalize on it, but someone else does. The Metahuman People's Army. If you contact them immediately, they will be able to head off further NC incursions on the island. However, this will strengthen the position of Zealor and his affiliated Metahuman Go gangs. They have not proven particularly friendly in the past. We'll see about that. Maybe we will contact the MP, maybe we won't. This is so typical. What is? Places like this, filled with ignorant fools who would gladly kill you for no good reason. I think you just described most of the Sixth World. I don't believe the Bay Area sprawl is significantly worse in that regards than the average location. True, but it could stand to be a great deal better. I suppose I've grown used to life near Mount Shasta. In the shadow of the Great Dragon, very few people are eager to start trouble. Have you seen her yourself? Who, Hestaby? Yes. I still vividly remember the first day I laid my eyes on her. Dorby's voice turns uncharacteristically wistful as she seems to look at something in the far distance. That was a turning point in my life. The day I stopped being Dorby and was reborn as Phoenix. What about her did you find so compelling? You've never met a dragon, have you? It's hard to describe. They're so immense. Not just physically, but astrally, intellectually, every way you can imagine. It's like you've spent your entire life living in an anthill and then one day discover an elephant. How can you possibly go back to your previous life unchanged? It makes everything you've done before seem meaningless. I must admit, I wouldn't have pegged you for a follower of Hestaby. She has a reputation as a peaceful creature. You strike me as a bit more violent? Chaotic? Yes. True enough. I am who I am, and meeting Hestaby hasn't changed that. But it's forced me to rethink what I'm doing and how I live my life. She has power. More power than I'd ever imagined before. More power than I could have ever dreamed of. Of course, I can never become a dragon. It doesn't work that way, right? But seeing all that she has accomplished in such a short span of time, well, it inspires me to go out and do all that I can. So, you see yourself as potentially becoming a mini Hestaby? Is that so crazy? Alright, maybe it is. But it's fun. If I'm going to spend my life blowing stuff up, it might as well be for the purpose of amassing an enormous power base and reshaping the world to fit my whims. Honestly fair. Let's also loot the armory while we're at it. What do we have here? AK-97. A Cavalier frag grenade. A Cavalier Volte grenade, and 570 new yen. I would have expected more from this safe. You know, maybe I will contact the MP to hold on to Alameda. Understood. We'll soon arrive in force. I know you love her. I know you do. Let's see if you've got anything new to say. Nope, nothing. Then we can leave. Freed of its captivity, the train rolls easily along the tracks eastward. You send word to Cora, who remotely manages the switching stations to ensure that the engine finds its way safely to your lockup in Haverville. The rest of your team lazily walks back through the fair, picking up a few odd trinkets here and there. With the native Californian threat largely taken care of, at least for today, the merchants have re-emerged and show their gratitude with minuscule discounts off of their already enormous markups. How typical of them. But then again, that's how it's usually working. There we go, 8 karma. Maybe we should replace our shamanic ritual garb with something better. Next time, I suppose. Oh, and the advanced med kit. We're taking that one on. There's Cora. There's Rafik. And I suppose everyone else is waiting outside. Are you interested in buying paid data? I certainly am. Or more accurately, I'll broker purchases for you. All sorts of people make their way through the PU host, and it's hella easy to find buyers for any sort of confidential data you might have picked up from the Matrix. Ordinarily, I would charge a brokerage fee, but hey, we're practically family, right? Any cash you earn is going to help keep you and Rafik safe and sound. Anyway, was that just a hypothetical question, or do you have some data that you'd like to sell? Oh, I've got lots of data. Specifically, let's start with Haverville construction contracts. Data about that's going on right underneath our feet. I can't decide if that's fun or terrifying. I have a local merchant who's looking for an edge in buying her next office space. She'll give us 300 new yen for this. I'm seeing blueprints, sewer lines, access tunnels. Criminals would have a field day with this kind of data. Oh, great idea. Yeah, I know just the team to take advantage of this. 400 new yen. There's a mark. That's a markup. Let's see. Next, hydropower study. Ooh, geological data. There's an ex-UC professor at the PU who goes wild over this kind of stuff. He'd easily cuff up 400 for this. There are several significant ley lines running along the San Andreas fault. Mages might be interested in the correlation of geological and astral data. 500. I hadn't considered that. You're right. I'll get in touch with someone from the Astral Studies wing of the PU. And finally, the shipping manifests. Oh, I guess that one will need Intelligence 5 or Etiquette Socialite. The individual items here aren't too valuable, but the cumulative data is rather interesting. The Haverville Merchants Guild might be interested in what's happening down south. Looks like I can get you 450 for this data file. Nope, not yet. Your call. What do you make of this note? Cora scans the message, a look of disgust on her face. If the native Californians are moving into town, then things are going to get even less pleasant than they were before. Don't let the name fool you. They aren't Amerindian or anything like that. The NCs are a group of hardcore human supremacists, our own local homegrown version of Humanis, with an even greater affinity for firebombing civilians. They used to have a strong presence in the Central Valley, but Hestabai sent them packing after she emerged from Shasta. It looks like at least one branch has wound up in the Bay Area. Lucky us. We should do what we can to stop them. The NC has never been particularly smart, but they inflict a lot of damage, and can be dangerous when allied with a group that controls their firepower. Watch your back, Alice. If they decide to come after you, your world will become even more deadly than it is now. Like I don't know. But first of all, let's get to that Intelligence 5. I think we've earned it. But next time we're definitely getting Willpower 5 as well. So, shipping manifests? The actual items aren't important. It's the cumulative trends that matter. A market research firm would have a field day with this. You have a good point. A lot of trends that start in the Bay Area end up propagating through Cal Free and beyond. Okay, here's the payout. Now let's speak with Rafik. Look, Alice, we need to talk. Is something bothering you? I've noticed that ever since we came to Haverville, hell, even before then, everyone's been following your lead. You're the one who picks where to go next, who to bring along. Anytime we have to make a choice, everyone automatically looks to you to see what you're going to say and then goes along with it. Is that a problem? When we started this thing, I thought we were going to be a team. Don't you remember that I was the one who pulled your sorry ass out of the gauntlet when shit went south? Cora and I helped get your back on your feet, helped you put together this plan, introduced you to our contracts, and yet somehow you've become the leader of this gang or whatever it is we have here. After all, why should it be you? What do you have that I don't? I'll go grab myself a drink in a second. So, be right back. Because it looks like Rafik is thinking us a threat to his authority. back at it again. Well, looks like spellcasting 4 is the only better option out here. We don't have decking, drone control, charisma, ranged combat, or close combat. We need a strong spellslinger. Your devotion to bear is touching, but offensive magic will win the day. Look, I don't doubt that you are skilled at what you do, that isn't an issue. Everyone here has something they're good at. Percy with her drones, Sable with his deck, Dorby with her batshit crazy love of fire. But being good at one thing doesn't automatically qualify you to lord it over everyone else. Dorby may be the deadliest person on our team, but there is no way in hell I'd ever take orders from her. So once again, what gives? Why should everyone follow you? That's a very good question. This isn't about me versus you, Rafik. We're partners. We look after each other. You looked after me in the gauntlet, and now I'm looking after you on this job. Rafik's anger fades away, replaced with a bashful glow. Oh, jeez. Now I feel like a fool. From the outside, it sometimes feels like you're bossing us around, but as long as I know your motivations are good, I'm happy to follow your lead. The rarest, most precious currency in this world is trust, and I value yours. I'm glad that you're paying attention to what's most important. Most big scores like this fail because the team can't hold it together and turn on one another. By helping to keep us together, you're helping us succeed in the job. Wow, that got intense. Look, no matter what happens, I'll back you up. I owe you that much after our years together. Just be careful, alright? We all need each other, and we need each other at our best. You can do a lot to help make sure everything goes smoothly, both on the job and after. Take care. Now let's look at our team. Sable can get either Expert Program Bruiser, which will help out in the Matrix, or as a slasher, get his circle attack that can hit multiple nearby opponents. I'm thinking Bruiser because we do need him as a hacker. For Rafik we've got, let's see, Charisma and Spirit Control. +1 to his Charisma and Spirit Control abilities, increasing his effectiveness at commanding spirits. Or Quickness and Ranged. +1 to his Quickness and Ranged. We'll go with Charisma and Spirit Control. Dorby, Hellraiser, Heatwave, Unreasonable Warmth upon enemies within 5 squares of her, penalizing their accuracy by 10% for 2 rounds. Or Mind Wipe. Dorby's Oratory baffles her opponents, leaving them distracted and useless on the battlefield for 2 turns. That one's definitely better. And, goddammit, where was it? Pepsi, that was her name. Electrical Damping. Percy can preemptively rewire her drone circuits to avoid stun effects. Useful. Or Cyberware Jolt Alert. Sleep is for the weak. Percy will never lose consciousness no matter how many stun attacks hit her. I'd rather keep her out of harm's way, so Electrical Damping it is. Everyone has been distributed, so out to Little York we go. They're gonna be over in the Dis, right? Oh, there's Sable at least. Welcome back! I do so look forward to our time together. I still don't understand how can someone like you end up in a gang. Well, fortunately for me, meta-type goes a long way towards acceptance in Oakland gangs. I didn't grow up around here and certainly don't fit the profile of the typical ganger, so I leaned rather heavily on my identity for initiation. If you're asking what brought me to that situation in the first place, though, well, it's a rather long story. Are you interested in hearing it? Sure. I initially came to San Francisco. I was recruited by Shiawase Information Security as a white hat decker. They had heard through back channels about my penetration of Shiawase agrotech and mistook my lack of avarice as a sign of virtuous intent. It was a bit of a shift from my previous employment, but one I welcomed. I wore a tie, sat at a desk, drank soy caf out of a mug emblazoned with corporate-approved inspiratorial messages. I would break into one of their systems, explain their weaknesses, and then walk over to the water cooler and discuss last night's episode of Truly Tridio. Shiawase gained immensely from my contributions, hardening their systems as quickly as I entered them. But I wasn't there for their approval, or the pay, or the security. I was there to learn. How do mega corporations work, exactly? I was certain that they could not be the amorphous, faceless, all-consuming evil entities people describe. Corporations are made up of people, each with their own agendas and abilities. I knew that if I could see it from the inside. I knew that if I could see it from the inside, I would be able to understand a corporation in the same way as I might understand a machine. Inputs and outputs, components, purpose and performance. Seems reasonable enough. From the outside, corporations can seem monolithic and scary. From the inside, though, they're petty and flawed. They're just like any other institution, only with more power. Eventually, I grokked the corporate life and ceased to enjoy my time there. Once the puzzle had been solved, nothing was left but the dreary monotony of wage slaving. So I used my earnings to hire a small Shadowrunner team for a self-extraction. I doubt Shiawase saw that coming. Like most megacorps, Shiawase hates losing employees, particularly ones who have seen the inside of their firewall. So the runners helped me lay low for a while, setting me up with the raiders. Oakland may be just across the bridge, but it's practically on a different planet than San Francisco, and the corps have little sway here. Much as I did with Shiawase, I blended in while working for my keep. I wore a leather jacket, sat in the slums, drank watered-down booze out of discarded milk cartons emblazoned with the faces of missing children. I broke into local systems to spring their members from jail, monitored channels to catch early wind of trouble from other gangs or Saito's patrols, then would walk over to the auto shop and discuss last night's episode of Truly Tridio. Meanwhile, I observed and listened and asked questions. I gradually came to understand the gang lifestyle in much the same way I knew the corp lifestyle. And do you know what I discovered? That they both suck? I learned that once you eliminate the superficial coloring, they're exactly the same. If I were to draw you an organization chart for Shiawase Biotech's Cal-free operations and an organization chart for the Orkland Raiders, you wouldn't be able to tell which was which. Both institutions are founded on hierarchies, with punishingly steep drop-offs in power and wealth as you move further down the chain. The leaders make capricious, arbitrary decisions that may bring in immense wealth of immense harm, but receive massive rewards regardless. As you move down the chain, you run into the morass of middlemen, those whose careers are predicated upon the system. They ruthlessly enforce the wills of those above them in the hopes that they may one day join the ranks of the elite. And at the bottom you have the vast rank and file. Whether a corner hustler or a corp copyist, those at the bottom earn practically nothing and get almost no protection from those above them. They only do that job because they have nowhere else to go. Who would hire a dropout orc teenager? Who would risk the wrath of reprisal from Shiawase by hiring away a third-rate wage slave? And then of course you came along. By that time I had exhausted all I could learn from the gangers, and I thought your venture could offer more opportunities for insight. Still, I remain fascinated by just how similar those apparently disparate organizations were. Interesting. I wonder if the same sort of structure can be found in other institutions as well. Exactly. I believe there are matters of scale at work. For example, your own team is too small to need the same hierarchies as those found in Shiawase or the Raiders. But would we find similar chains of command in national governments or private militaries? Perhaps with power as a replacement for currency? I would love to find out someday. Be that as it may, I consider that phase in my life over. I've done the corp thing, I've done the gang thing. I'm glad to have had those experiences, but for now, I'll be concentrating on being the best runner I possibly can for your team. Speaking of, I'm working on a Shadowrun game. Can you help me with a game engine? That sounds like a great fun. I've never tried my hand at creating a game before, but I have greatly enjoyed playing them, and have some thoughts on what capabilities to provide. I shall deliver the software to you shortly along with copious documentation. See you later. We'll ask your opinions on our other members of the crew later. Now I need to find an artist for our game. And maybe I know just the guy or gal to ask. This should be the queue where the Artbot accounts come in, but not this time. Dorby, how's it going? Hi there, got any business to discuss? Are you excited about going after the Megacorps? Well, I'm excited about the job, definitely. As for the target, I guess I'm a little ambivalent about that. It makes sense to go after them, and I think it's a smart decision, but I can't claim to be some righteous crusader who lives and breathes for the chance to strike against big business. I mean, given that you need a big payday, let's compare the alternatives. You could steal from the poor, I suppose, but they don't have much worth taking since they're poor. You would need to rob a lot of them, your overhead would be awful, and everyone would hate you. Kicking folks who are already down is bad for public relations. And the gangs? They have money, and it's dirty money, so you wouldn't need to worry about the sympathy angle. But go gangs are notorious when it comes to keeping grudges. As long as any of them survive, they would keep on hunting you down. What's the benefit of clearing a big score if you keep looking over your shoulder until the day you die? In contrast to that, hitting the corpse makes a lot of sense. Don't get me wrong, it'll be a tough job. They can't afford to hire top-notch security and are a lot smarter about locking down their valuables. But once the job is done, some bean counters will do a cost-benefit analysis. But once the job is done, you can trust them to be rational about it. Some bean counters will do a cost-benefit analysis and weigh the price of hiring a knight-errant squad for 6 months to track you down versus just writing it off. We should check if there's also a price sheet for murder and blackmail. All megacorps carry insurance against theft, so it isn't even like they'll be losing that much out of pocket. At worst, they might see their premiums tick up slightly in response. Now, if you decide to go all Robin Hood and march around declaring that you're striking a blow against the hated corpse and advocating a popular revolution, well, then they'll do all in their considerable power to destroy you. But as long as you keep your head down and don't create additional liabilities for them, they'll happily ignore you. That sounds pretty nice, huh? Being able to spend your hard-stolen money without waiting for the other shoe to drop. So this isn't an emotional decision for you. Apart from this job, I suppose I'm fairly ambivalent towards the megacorps. On the one hand, I absolutely envy their power. No single being has as much raw strength as a dragon, but a megacorp as an entire entity could certainly challenge one. In a sense, the corps and the dragons are the only true players left on this planet, and all of the rest of us are just fighting for scraps. That said, I would never want to be a part of a corp power structure. Unless you're a Lofvader, you don't get to just run a corp. You take orders from those above you and give orders to those below you. I don't do middle management very well. I'd much rather rule from the top of a small pyramid than from the middle of a big one. Of course, the ultimate goal would be to rule from the top of a big pyramid, but I want to get there by building my own record of successful despotic rule, not by playing office politics for several decades and clawing my way up the ladder. In the big picture, I think that job seems fun. I'm looking forward to getting my cut and using that money to further my political ambitions. I certainly don't have any problem with using the corpse as a target, but just so we're clear, this is absolutely a mercenary decision on my part, not a sign of a budding crusader. You're selling them short. Shiawase is a big player in the region. Weakening them could help further your career. Now there's an interesting angle. Yeah, they're only one of the big SF corps, but there are a lot of metas around here who would love to see them stumble. I need to weigh benefits and to see the benefits of popular support over the risks of making a powerful enemy. But that's something I'll need to consider. Thanks for the suggestion. I may need to offer you an advisory role if you keep this up. In the end, the thing that matters most is that the job succeeds, we end up with bucket loads of new yen, and transform the corp's boring money into an agent of change for us. You saving your skin, me fulfilling my ambitions, that's something we can all feel proud about. What we do with the opportunity once it is presented to us. And that is exactly why her other skill tree is called Despot. let's see where was the prospective candidate. Well, first of all, Percy. Hey, boss. Did you want to talk or something? Let's pick up from where we were before your drone started acting up. That's right. I owe you a kiss. Smiling, Percy pulls out her rigger control console again, placing it into silent mode. There, that should keep the kids quiet for a bit. As promised, Percy delivers her kiss. This time, you're ready. Eyes closed, each of you begin to tentatively explore the other's body. Running your fingers up and down her bare arm, you feel the sleek muscles of an orc who has struggled for everything she's achieved in life. Percy seems uncharacteristically shy at first, waiting for your initiatives before returning her own affections. As the seconds slip by, she grows more animated. You can feel her hunger, her desire, her longing as she takes matters into her own hands. Her breath grows labored and heavy, and then something turns. She relaxes, leaning on your frame. You realize that this is the first time since you've met Percy that she has seemed peaceful, content, perhaps even happy. You know, this is nice. Percy's typical guarded expression has vanished. In its place is a smile. Percy looks as though the universe has just told her a pleasant joke. You gently hug Percy down to the floor. As you sit, she nestles her head in your lap, eyes staring up at you, her smile fading but still present. Do you remember the first time we met? I could never forget. I'll never forget the first words that popped into my mind. Oh shit. Quickly followed by, what is that damn orc fool doing? She laughs heartily, sending vibrations throughout your body. Of course, I wasn't really thinking about taking a mate in that moment. Still, what with all the blood and the explosions and the gunfire, well, there sure was a lot of adrenaline and endorphins pumping that day, yeah? You gotta wonder, does that have something to do with us? Wanting to recapture that natural chemical high we had the first time we experienced one another? Of course, if you'd been stupid enough to ask me out, then I'd have said no. I was seeing another orc back then, name of Caladon. We lasted, about a year. Real tall. Not so good with honesty. I guess this is the part where we talk about ex-lovers, huh? How about you? Did you have lots of girlfriends before me? Not so much. Oh, really? That's actually kind of sweet. I'm sure it wasn't from lack of opportunity. So, your last girlfriend. What happened there? It was complicated. Ooh, sounds juicy. Well, if you need to build up for it, take your time. Or I can just wait for the trio to come out. In the meantime, let me quickly check. Looks like it's time for the advertisements. I'll drink some water in the meantime. And back to it. Percy closes her eyes. You can't tell if she's sleeping or merely resting, but either way, she's more peaceful than you've ever seen her before. Minutes pass. Bystanders give you a respectful berth as you gaze down into Percy's features, the last glimmer of that smile still twinkling at the edge of her lips. You feel pinpricks as your legs begin to fall asleep. You start gently stroking Percy's hair, fingers lightly playing along her mahogany tresses. After another minute passes, Percy stirs, her grin returning to full force as she opens her eyes. Hey, you. Hey. Percy stretches widely, then lifts herself back upright. Your legs now in relief. Well, always nice spending time with you, yeah? I need to get better words for talking to you now. Well, hopefully you know how I feel, but even if I can't, save for shit. I gotta check in and make sure that the drones didn't burn down the house while we were away. I'll see you in a bit, because right now it looks like I am gonna need to cut this stream short because everyone in the house is now going to sleep and I would rather not be too loud when it comes to that. Especially in such a decently written campaign. Good written, even. So I suppose this is the time where we... Yeah, I suppose we can raid Kix. So give me a second. And off to the menu we go. And give it a second there. On that note, I'd like to thank everyone for coming. Hopefully you're enjoying Caldecott Caper as much as I do, because I certainly am enjoying myself. And now we can go ahead and say our goodbyes for the night. Or stick around and go over with me to Kix as he is playing Halo 2 Anniversary Edition with his friend. See you around.